Life is like a train ride, and you may not be sure of your destination, but you've got to stay on track and you've got to keep moving forward. And even if there's more track behind you than ahead of you, don't forget to enjoy the ride. Oh my gosh, what time is it? What time is it? What time is it? Oh no, 10:15. I'm late. Oh my gosh, I'm late. Oh, that's right. I don't work anymore. Ah. Testing, testing. Oh, it's on. Hello. It's on. It's 113 degrees here today in sunny Las Vegas. And I want to welcome you back to my channel. Welcome to all you fabulous new subscribers. I'm so happy to have you, especially all of my 70-somethings. You're beautiful. Love you all. And thanks for joining the tribe. Okay. I think in my last video, I tried to get a little bit acquainted by telling you a lot about how I got into retirement. And I wanted to follow up with this video telling you what happened in the year 2020, which was a very pivotal year in my life. I did retire in 2020, ushered out of the workforce basically by COVID. And I'm happily retired now in my 6th year of retirement. I'm living in my dream home. I'm married to a very wonderful man who is gracious enough to let me have the house to myself when I'm doing YouTube videos. Because, you know, he's kind of noisy. He doesn't mean to be, but he's kind of like living with a toddler. You know how they unconsciously make a lot of noise, and I'm always like, hello, hello, honey, hello. So when I do my YouTube video sessions, he usually goes to visit his son. So win-win on both ends of that scenario. And today I wanted to tell you a little story about my first year of retirement. And what you saw in the beginning of this video was very true. I remember a number of times I shocked myself awake going, oh my gosh, I think I'm late for work. And then I had to talk myself down. Get off the ledge. You don't work anymore. Hello? Yeah, you know, it's funny. You're so programmed, and that programming is so crystallized into your routine. But wow, no problem now. Again, I'll say it again. I never wake up to an alarm. I have no reason to, you know. Okay, I digress. Boy, I digressed big time. I apologize. Okay, I'm talking about my first year in retirement, and I couldn't be happier. The first year was the honeymoon phase of retirement. Yeah, it was like I was still feeling really good. I still had a lot of energy. We did some traveling. That first year, or just going into retirement, we traveled to the Grand Canyon. And I think that's where my husband told me that he realized he wanted a more serious and permanent relationship with me. Well, it's kind of funny that I ended up marrying this guy, because this was not my first go-around with him. My husband and I originally met on Y2K. Yeah, he was a dealer at Bally's. I was a front desk agent at the Flamingo, and you couldn't write a better script than that. Remember Y2K? everyone was all freaked out and panicked that the computers were all going to shut down and the world was going to stop and some crazy stuff was going to happen, and then nothing happened? God, talk about getting all worked up over nothing. Well, anyhow, we were in a situationship for about 5 or 6 years. And we eventually decided to go our separate ways. We couldn't cement a relationship at that time because he was a single dad with 4 kids. I didn't have kids. And he was sensible enough and wise enough to realize I couldn't take on a situation like that. And I realized it too. There was no way. But this just goes to show you, sometimes you meet the right person at the wrong time in life. And we were always compatible. We always had a lot of fun together. I was always giddy when I knew I was going to see him. And I'm that way to this day. When I know my husband's on the way home, I'm giddy. And I know there's a lot of women out there, especially in retirement, especially in their senior years, that have decided to remain single, and I guess they call it solo now. And it's funny because how many times have I heard women saying, I don't want to be a nurse with a purse for some guy in my retirement years. And I chuckle at that. That's not how I felt at all. If anything, my husband has been the caretaker for me more than the other way around, because I've had more wrong with me in the 6 years we've been married than he has. And as far as having a purse, he's the one that brought the big chunk of change to the table to get us into our dream house, not me, okay? So I want to give credit where credit is due. He surrendered it to put us in this situation. And I'm grateful. I'm eternally grateful. When we got together again, we both had a house paid off. We were both living free and clear. We didn't need to take on a mortgage. We didn't need to take on this new house. But we did it because it was, I think he did it for me, if you want to know the truth. It was something I think I wanted more than he did. But, he came along for the ride, and he's been very happy with the outcome. So as far as taking on a mortgage at this stage of life, I think we both feel the same way about this. We don't care if we pay our house off or not. Okay, we're living comfortably. We can make the mortgage payment comfortably. And if anything, if both of us go, we don't care what happens to this house. I mean, should I? Would you pay your house off? Really, you probably wouldn't take on a mortgage when you're well into your 60s, but oh well. Conversation for another day. But yeah, that's what happened in the first year. He wanted to tie the knot. And I was open to it. I was very open to it because I already knew him. We already had a history. I knew the animal I was dealing with. Now, if I had just gone out and met somebody new, I don't know if I would have been that open to getting into a relationship and getting married. Honestly, I don't know. But I'm glad it went down the way it did. Yeah. I just want to say this too, for any younger viewer that might be watching this. This is what I've learned in life. When you are deciding to make some kind of change in your life and you have a lot of obstacles in your way, you're going down the wrong path. When the stars align and things happen fast, you're going in the right direction. This is what happened in 2020. Things happened really fast. In the beginning of the year, I mentioned in my last video, my brother suddenly passed away. And, I was faced with the idea that I was an orphan. I didn't have kids. My immediate family was all deceased. And I decided that I wanted to have a partner and I wanted somebody I could share my final chapter with. And that's what I got, okay? And once I decided that, once I made that my intention, the stars aligned. Once I decided I wanted to have my dream home, the stars aligned. He spent the night at my place on a Friday. It was a Saturday morning. We got up, we were having coffee, and deciding how we were going to spend the day. Either going to visit his mother, his mother had dementia, and it was always kind of overwhelming to visit her, and I'm sure it was overwhelming for him too. Okay, or my suggestion was, hey, I looked at these on this 55 plus community, and I think it would be fun to go walk through the model houses. How do you feel about it? He's like, yeah, let's do that. Let's postpone going to see my mother and let's go look at these models, which really shocked me because I thought, boy, if I suggested something like that to him, he'd put up, resistance, but no resistance at all. We walked through the models, and there was one particular model we liked, which is the one we're living in now. And the agent says, oh, if you like that model, I have some standing inventory of that model. And she said, one in particular has $16,000 worth of flooring upgrades. And the builder is also offering $10,000 in closing costs as an incentive right now. What happened to this house was somebody was going to buy it, and then the house fell out of escrow due to COVID. So their loss was our gain. And we walked in the house, okay, and I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I looked at her, the agent, and I said, I don't have to look any further. What do we have to do to get this house? And he came right along for the ride, She did mention to me, well, I have one more standing inventory just like this, but it's got white cabinets instead of the espresso cabinets. And let me show you my cabinets right now. These are my cabinets, espresso. And I said, no, I'll take these cabinets because the house I'm living in right now, I had white cabinets. And I'm like, been there, done that. And we went back to the sales office, signed up, put the wheels in motion, and we were closed and moved in here probably within 30 days. We moved in here in August of 2020, probably the hottest freaking day of the year. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But that's part of life here in living in Nevada, in the desert Southwest. You kind of roll with it because you have to, We get so many nice months out of the year where it's mild, or if we do have a winter, we might have like a month or month and a half of actual cold weather, which is really refreshing to me. It's really brisk and refreshing, and actually a time of the year that I really enjoy here. So yeah, that's the story of how I ended up getting married at the age of 66. My husband was 65. I'm a cougar. I was 66. We got married at the Graceland Chapel in Las Vegas, of course. And if you're thinking of getting married in Las Vegas, go to the Graceland Chapel and ask for Brendan to perform your ceremony. He is the best Elvis ever. So that pretty much was my first year of retirement, and what a ride it was. And it's still been the best chapter so far. I love being retired. If you're thinking about retiring, I highly recommend it. If there's any way you can do it, do it. Retirement puts you in a very peaceful place. It puts you in a higher vibration than you are in during your working life. It's hard to avoid the stress of the working life. But once you're away from that, believe me, you become a whole different person. I feel like this is the way we were meant to live. So the next time we get together, I'm going to have a pretty interesting subject to tell you about. I worked at the Flamingo Las Vegas for 23 years, and within that time span, some pretty devastating things happened. And I want to specifically let you know in the next episode what it was like working on the Las Vegas Strip when 9/11 happened. And it's going to be interesting. I want to thank you for stopping by today and spending some time with me. My name is Suzanne Harper. The channel is The Sharper View, and I would love it if you subscribe to the channel. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, and I'd love to hear from you. Let me know where you're watching from. Are you retired? And are you loving your retirement as much as I am? I certainly hope so. I'll be back soon. In the meantime, mwah, you keep doing you, and I'll see you in the next one.